Hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Dark Tales of Zelda. That's right. This is not really a happy and positive video. So if this is something that you thought was different, well, it's time to click off now. So there's a warning that viewer and listening discretion is advised. This is intended for mature audiences only. So, with that being said, let's get started. The dark tale is this. There was a night that I was reading, and a particular client from Maine called me. Now, she was a client that I've talked with several times over the years. So she was a regular client, and it was about 3 a.m. Eastern when I was talking with her. She was a little depressed, didn't really feel very well. We were talking about things, and as I started shuffling the cards, because I was using the Cartomancy deck, the regular playing card, these are the cards that came out. Literally. How can I remember? Well, how can I forget? When you hear this story, you're going to understand exactly what I mean. While we are talking, she was silent, and she would say, "Hold on a minute." Or then she would say, "Just a second, I'm being bothered." Or, "Just a minute, I'm getting a text." Well, I would wait. She's a really great person. No problem. Those things happen. And she came back on the phone and she said, "This neighbor guy is texting me, and he wants to know about this piece of jewelry. I haven't talked to him in a long time." So I start laying out these cards, and I said, "It's not a piece of jewelry that he wants to talk to you about." And she said, "Well, what could it be?" Well, these are the cards that I pulled out. These are all negative cards. These are cards that show there is more to this story than meets the eye. He's not telling her the truth. This card right here represents a joker. So it means that he's not telling her the truth. It means that there's a hidden agenda. With these cards, there is a really dark connotation to this. So I told her, I said, it's 3 a.m. Actually, it was 3:08 a.m. I don't feel it's a good idea. I don't see that this is something good that you need to be doing. And she said, "Well, it would be nice to have the company." And I said, "I don't think that he is wanting you there for the purpose of a company. This doesn't look good." "Well, he keeps texting me, wanting to see this piece of jewelry." And I said, "When was the last time you saw him?" "Oh gosh, it had to be a year ago." "How did you see him?" "Well, he was out in the yard. We were both doing yard work at the same time. He lives 2 houses down from me in the neighborhood. He was outside. I waved at him. He waved at me." "And that's the last time you saw him?" "Yes." "And he has your number, and he's texting you now about a piece of jewelry at 3:08 a.m.? "Well, yeah, that is kind of weird, isn't it, Zelda?" "Yes, it is kind of weird. It's more than weird. It does not look good at all." So as I'm looking and I'm taking out these cards one by one, these mean frustration, anger, upset, loss, separation, parting, and this represents the Death card. This is the same equal as the Death card in the tarot deck, but in this position with these other very negative cards, and this represented my client. So with all these other really negative cards, it meant more than just a separation or even the end of a chapter and a new beginning. It meant something very dark. This neighbor did not have a good intention in mind. So I told her, "This is a warning for you. There's nothing more that I can say. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Please Heed my warning. There's something wrong. So as we're talking, I pulled out one more card. This is a card of sacrifice. This is a card of something going very wrong. Love, relationship, maybe even a family, friendship, but something goes terribly wrong. And I told her, I'm warning you, there's something horribly wrong. Please promise me that you won't go. If it's that important, you can see him tomorrow with that piece of jewelry. You need to go lock your doors, and you need to stay in tonight. And she said, lock my doors. I said, that's correct. You need to lock your doors, you need to be safe, and you need to stay in. Okay, so we ended the reading, and the cards, after she decided to not go or to leave, and she stopped paying attention to the text, the reading lightened up, and there was no more warnings, no more loss, no more ill intention, frustration, anger, sacrifice, anything. The next night, my client called me and said, oh my gosh, Zelda, I'm shaking. I said, what happened? She said, I had the piece of jewelry. I went outside today to get the mail, and I was going to walk over to the neighbor's house. And she said, when I looked down the street, there was caution tape. And I said, caution tape? She said, yes, police caution tape. I said, oh my gosh, what happened? Here, the neighbor, the young man, lived with his parents. There was a history of mental illness that was very unfortunate. Right when this neighbor was texting my client, he had murdered his parents. That's right. He murdered his parents and was texting her to come to his house. Now, when she called me, she said, can you imagine what would have happened if I would have walked into that? And I said, oh, yes, I do. Because you would have been the next one. Well, how they found this gentleman is because he took his parents in a car and tried to bury them in a park. Now, this was all very sad, and I've changed around the details a little bit for the privacy of the client, but that's pretty much what happened. I still talk to this client this day, and she tells me constantly how grateful she is, but the gratefulness is her, that she listened. She needs to thank herself that she listened, and because she was not feeling that lonely and going to the neighbors, she saved herself from going through a lot of problems. To this day, this bothers me. This happened not very long ago. This was a very intense situation, and this young man now has been appropriately taken care of, and hopefully he's getting the mental help that he needs. So thank you so much for listening and watching, and I will be back with you the next time on Dark Tales of Zelda. This is a true story, and I've got a bunch more. So thanks so much for being here with me, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.